Stephen Curry, the greatest shooter God has ever created. There is no doubt in anyone's mind that Steph has changed the game forever. However, the question remains, when did Steph Curry peak? Was it his illustrious 15-16 campaign? Or was it one of the seasons in between with Kevin Durant? Perhaps maybe it was his 2022 Finals masterpiece. In this video, we do a deep dive into the legacy, stats, and overall context to figure out exactly when Steph Curry peaked. After leading the Warriors to a 67-15 record and winning his first MVP, Steph propelled the Warriors to the NBA Finals. In this matchup, they faced a soon-to-be familiar foe in LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Warriors won the series, and Steph was on top of the basketball world, being the best player on the best team. They snapped a 40-year title drought, proving that a jump shooting team could win it all. Everything looked great for Golden State on paper, but media narratives suggested much of the playoff success was predicated on luck. And to be fair, there was some credence to that. Key moments on their road to prosperity changed the outcomes of series and matchups. In the semifinals, the Warriors found themselves down 2-1 against the infamous grit and grind Grizzlies, but eventually bested them in 6 games, aided by injuries to Mike Conley and all-time defender Tony Allen. Meanwhile, the Clippers, who many believe could rival the Warriors in a 7-game series, lost Chris Paul to an injury and ultimately choked a 3-1 series lead to the Rockets, leaving the Warriors with a much easier conference finals matchup. More notably, when the Warriors reached the finals, they faced a depleted Cavaliers team without all-stars Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. It felt like 2007 all over again, with LeBron trying to carry an undermanned Cavs squad. And he did just that, pushing the 67-win Warriors to 6 hard-fought games. Many analysts believe that if Kyrie had stayed healthy, the Cavs would have easily won the series. Matthew Dellavedova was arguably the second best player for Cleveland in that series, and he had to be hospitalized for chasing Steph and playing extended minutes beyond the norm. The Finals MVP debate further fueled doubts about Steph. In one camp, many believe that LeBron should be the first player since Jerry West to win the award despite a losing effort. On the other hand, folks felt as though Andre Iguodala's insertion into the starting lineup after being down 2-1 was the key to winning the championship. Ultimately, Iggy ended up winning the award, providing more ammunition for the Curry haters. All of this made fans hesitant to give Steph his flowers. Not only was the road to championships seen as questionable, but their best player didn't meet expectations in the most important series. The noise only added fuel to Steph's fire. He was on a mission to come back even stronger the next season. Even though he had achieved the ultimate goal, Steph's hunger was at an all-time high. The following season, Steph and the Warriors came back with a vengeance. On opening night, as they received their rings, Steph dropped 40 points in 3 quarters against the young Pelicans and Anthony Davis. He hit 5 of 12 three-pointers, including some shots that we hadn't seen before, even from Steph himself, foreshadowing what was to come the rest of the season. Steph and the Warriors proceeded to win their next 23 games, bringing their streak to 24, third all-time behind the LeBron-led Heat and the Showtime Lakers. During this stretch, Curry went ballistic, averaging 32.5 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 2.5 steals on 52, 47, 91 shooting splits. He was on pace to achieve the elusive 50-45-90 club, with nearly double the volume of others who had reached it. The entire basketball world was in awe as the reigning MVP somehow reinvented his game to become the most improved player on the planet. Never before had the league seen such audacious shot making and taking. Curry would consistently pull from well beyond the three-point arc, proving once again how different he was from that area. He also developed a knack for trying to hit half-court buzzer beaters at the quarter's end, and fans held their breath in anticipation. Though the streak eventually snapped, the Warriors continued their dominance. Time and time again, teams would try to stay competitive, only to be dismantled by the Warriors' signature third-quarter surge, often allowing their stars to rest in the fourth quarter. The Warriors finished the year 73-9, breaking the '96 Bulls record for most wins in a season. Unfortunately, they fell short in the NBA Finals, blowing a 3-1 lead thanks in part to a historic performance from LeBron and his running mate Kyrie Irving. Despite failing to cap off a perfect season, Steph's unanimous MVP and sheer dominance made a strong case for the greatest regular season ever. Who knows, Had he not injured his MCL in the first round of the playoffs, perhaps it would be the Warriors winning the championship and not the Cavs. While many believe that Steph's peak came in 15-16, it's undeniable that Curry continued to evolve over the years. Post-2016, Curry put on well over 10 pounds of muscle, having been better equipped to handle the physicality and durability of postseason basketball. His shot, already legendary, continued to improve in terms of efficiency and difficulty, and what he lost in quickness, he more than made up for in mastery of the game, IQ, and overall development through experience. Curry's evolution was perfectly captured in 2022 when he led a team without a true second star to a championship. Down 2-1 against a hungry and ultra-talented Celtics squad, many thought the series was over. Steph had other plans. He marched into Boston Garden and was a man possessed. In a back-and-forth affair that went down to the wire, he delivered clutch shot after clutch shot. Behind his 43.7 for 14 from 3 performance, the Warriors squeezed out a must-win Game 4 to tie the series. They went on to win the next 2 games, capturing their first championship since Durant's departure. And this time, Steph was recognized as the Finals MVP. This moment felt like the missing piece to Steph's legacy, cementing himself amongst the all-time greats with nothing left to prove. It felt as though this was a perfect encapsulation of how Steph managed to rise in the most important moments in basketball history. Despite this evolution, the question still remains: was his impact ever as profound as 2015-16? The case for 2016 is a relatively easy one to make. In terms of historical significance, Steph was by far the best player on the team that won the most games in NBA history. He was the first unanimous MVP in league history. He was the only player to this day to make the 50-45-90 club, which is 50% from the field, 45% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. He shattered his own record from the previous year of most three-pointers made and remained only 38 three-pointers shy of matching the Bucks' totality for that entire season. On a game-to-game basis, Steph often single-handedly outshot entire opposing teams from deep. The unprecedented volume and efficiency at which he operated left defenses with no answer. Looking at this chart, we can see how Steph's three-point shooting compared to his opponent's averages per game. When comparing those same numbers today, the difference is night and day. Simply put, the meaning of hitting a three-pointer has inherently diminished. It's almost as if an inflationary effect has taken place. What was once an anomaly, hitting 5+ threes in a game, has now become commonplace in 2025. Moreover, when examining Steph's advanced metrics, there's no doubt that this season was his peak. Box plus minus, otherwise known as BPM, a stat that measured a player's impact relative to their peers, paints a clear picture. While not perfect, BPM provides a solid gauge of most impactful players in the league. A BPM of 6 means an All-NBA season, a BPM of 8 or more includes an MVP season, and 10 or higher is an all-time season. Think peak Jordan or peak LeBron. In his 2015-16 campaign, Steph posted a BPM of 11.9, surpassing even peak Jordan and LeBron in some of their greatest seasons. In other words, Steph's impact that season may have been the most significant in NBA history. Since then, his BPM has never quite reached those heights, with his highest being nearly 9 in 2021. However, this doesn't truly indicate the decline in Steph's ability, but rather reflects how the three-point revolution took off after his MVP seasons. The league adapted, developing better defensive schemes to contain him, resulting in a natural dip in efficiency. If the league is caught up, why hasn't Steph fallen off? The reality is, Steph and the league have been playing 2 different games. Sure, the league has made and taken more threes as the years have progressed. And yes, certain defensive schemes have provided more hesitancy in terms of Steph's decision makings. But ultimately, Steph was already way too ahead of the curve for anyone to ever truly catch up. Even in today's game, Curry's shooting ability remains far beyond what others can replicate in both volume and accuracy. And that's just one aspect of his greatness. His feel for the game, playmaking, and overall scoring ability go well beyond how many threes he can hit. Gravity, now an overused term in NBA circles, but is something Steph popularized over the years. His ability to pull defenders and create wide open opportunities for teammates is what makes him special. Unlike most guards, Steph is constantly moving without the ball, forcing defenses to stay alert at all times. As a result, there is no relaxing when Steph is on the floor. His teammates reap the benefits of defensive attention he commands. That gravitational force he possesses simply cannot be replicated, no matter how much the league is caught up. The 2015-16 Warriors were simply ahead of the curve. Fans today have grown accustomed to Steph's greatness and have forgotten how to truly appreciate his peak. In fact, prior to winning back-to-back MVPs, former Clippers commentator Ralph Lohler would constantly say bingo each time one of his players made a three-point shot. However, as Steph started winning his MVPs and the league started gravitating towards more threes, that term became exhausting for Ralph and eventually was no longer existent in his vocabulary when commentating. And that influence continues today. Ultimately, determining Steph's peak is how you define it. If you value historical significance and advanced analytics, then 2015-16 is undoubtedly the answer. However, if you consider growth, leadership, and sustained excellence, then Steph's peak, culminating in his 2022 championship, has extended well beyond 2016. While the debate of his peak may continue for years to come, one thing remains certain. Stephen Curry has changed the game of basketball forever. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want more NBA content in the future.